J.K. Rowling once stated, "To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure." I believe funeral directors have some of the best minds and some of the best hearts. I have been told in this industry it takes a special person to work in this industry. And that's why I believe this, because I believe as funeral directors, we have to endure some of the worst conditions of our lives and help others as well with grief, in which can be a very hard time for most people, in which we are going to be discussing many things about funeral directors, such as the education and the dangers of embalming, what embalming is, different dispositions, as well as the requirements to become a funeral director. So we are going to start off with education, and it just so happens that Fayetteville Tech is the only college in the state of North Carolina that has a funeral service program. And we are one of the top 10 in the whole entire US that has this funeral service program. So, as far as the program goes, there is a 1-year diploma program in which you can receive your diploma to be a funeral director. And there is an associate's degree you may also obtain, in which it takes 2 years. So after you finish school, which you have to maintain an AB average in your funeral service classes in order to pass the program. So after college, you have to take your national board exams, and there are 3 exams. There is the sciences and pathology, or / pathology, your arts, and your state laws. So after you pass those, or you can also do this during, you have to acquire an apprenticeship, which takes 2 years. So 1 year would be for the funeral director, and it would be 1,000 hours, and you would have to do about 25 cases with memorials and 25 cases of dispositions. Now, for an embalming as well, you have to do 25 embalming cases, as long as the memorials and the different dispositions as well. And you must also have 2,000 hours. So, and for the salary, as far as salary goes, salary, it differs in different states. So in North Carolina, the average for a funeral director's apprentice would be $17 an hour. For a funeral director, it would be $20 to $25 an hour. And for an embalmer, it would be about $30 an hour. And funeral directors, when they sell funerary goods, they can also make commission. So we are going to take a even deeper dive into what funeral services is all about and what it entails. Next, we will be discussing funerary goods, such as contracts and arrangements. So there are 2 different types of contracts when it comes to funeral services. There is a pre-need, and there is also an at-need. So as far as that goes, a pre-need means before death. So somebody can make a pre-need contract with a funeral director or a funeral home. And so this is a list of the goods that they are sold. And so in which the prices will stay the same even when funerary goods prices go up. So at need is when at time of death. So when we meet with the family, and this is a legally binding contract that cannot be broken. So this ensures that families get the stuff that they paid for. They get the goods and they get the services that they paid for and what they expect. So we are going to talk about embalming and cremation. So we have some urns and some caskets, we have some um, some embalming machines. We actually have these embalming machines at school in the embalming labs. This is a crematorium. This is what a prep room typically looks like and what the PPE that we wear as embalmers. And this is embalming fluid that contains formaldehyde. And so, embalming. What's embalming? Embalming is when we simply preserve tissues and disinfect the tissues of a decedent. How long does it typically take? Well, it typically takes up to maybe 2 to 3 hours, depending on the height and the weight and the condition of the decedent, and depending on your skills as well. So tools, we use all different types of tools, just like surgeons do. We use arterial clamps and aneurysm hooks and things of that nature. And we also use embalming machines and crematory for cremations, of course. And so costs, we're going to talk about the costs as well. So for a typical cost for a funeral would be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 with a casket, and cremation would be anywhere from $2,000 with or without an urn, depending on the funeral home and where. And so now we're going to talk about green burials. So this is a new practice that has been around for a little while within the funeral industry. And so we're going to talk about alkaline hydrolysis and green burials. Green burials are said to be eco-friendly ways of disposition. So is alkaline hydrolysis. So green burials, you do not get embalmed. You can either be put in a wicker casket or a wooden casket that's biodegradable. This lady right here, she actually she carves out of trees a wooden casket that's biodegradable, or a cotton shroud, which is also biodegradable. And as far as alkaline hydrolysis goes, so alkaline hydrolysis is water cremation. A regular crematory, the heat is a lot. It's 1,700 degrees, and that can have a lot of impact on our environment. So, as far as alkaline hydrolysis, the temperature is only 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Our ovens can go that hot. Isn't that wild? So, as far as alkaline hydrolysis goes, when you get the cremains or the ashes, you can be put in a living urn, which you can be made into a tree or a shrub or a bush or a beautiful flower. Or you can be put in a salt urn or sand urn, and those are also biodegradable. And you can be placed in the ocean or a lake, and the urn will simply disintegrate in the water. So I think it's absolutely beautiful. So in conclusion, to our little presentation, I do believe that this career is very time consuming and stressful, but it can also be very rewarding. And so, as we have talked about today, the education and contracts and old and new ways of disposition, I hope you have enjoyed this. And why I chose this career is because I want to help as many people as I possibly can before it is my time. Just as when I was a little girl, I saw how sad people were when I lost one of my close family members. And I couldn't do anything to help because I was only 5 years old. So therefore, I just want to help others who have also felt the same. So thank you for listening.